Hey folks, welcome back. Time once again to look at the Strange RPG by Monte Cook Games. This time we're looking at the Bestiary for the system. So we covered the core book before, and as I mentioned, I had some of the other supplements coming in, and one of those is this here Bestiary, which is nice and shrink-wrapped and brand new, courtesy of Leisure Games. Sorry for the ring light reflection there, but that'll go away once we get into the pages proper. So, Strange Bestiary is a lavishly illustrated and wildly imaginative collection of 140 creatures and characters. Inside, you'll find creatures encountered on Earth, along with those native to the recursions of Ardain, Rook, Crow Hollow, Adam Nocturne, and more. The Bestiary also facilitates creating your own worlds by providing scores of creatures that will work in any recursion you can dream up, including those created by fictional leakage and operating under the laws of magic, mad science, and psionics. So, blah blah blah, all kinds of cool stuff. So, without any further ado, let's crack it open and take a quick look. And you know my definition of quick, so, expect at least half an hour or so, probably more. But I'm really looking forward to this one. As I say, I wanted to use the Strange as kind of the core of a kind of journey through the Cypher System, going through different fictional and mythical worlds, using some of the expansion books for the Cypher System to, inspire worlds based on horror, sci-fi, and stuff. Use some, licensed IP-based worlds, create some of my own monsters and creatures, and having some creatures that are native to the recursions that they'll encounter first in that kind of game would be really helpful to me, and also give me inspiration for expanding the campaign's breadth and scope. So I'm really excited to see what's in here. And we have the lovely size comparison chart, which I always love. There's some gigantic tree monstrosity. I guess that's a relatively normal sized guy. A few of those around, so we can get a sense of scale here. And there's a Tyrannosaur, which is enormous. That looks like Leto Atreides after his worm transformation. Something like that. We've got creepy insectoid things. We've got a battle mech, just a straight up battle mech. We've got demons and devils. Maybe that's Lucifer over there or something. We've got minotaurs and griffins and stuff. It looks like an elder thing. Yeah, maybe a gray alien. Lots of cool ideas. I mean, when you're delving into fictional and mythical creatures for inspiration, no end of cool stuff you can dream up. So just like the Bestiaries for Numenera, there's a section here on how to read the creature listings and also how to design them for yourself. So we have a little bit of design advice here, along with, of course, the requisite very informative sidebars and rules references we always find in the Monte Cook Games books, which I absolutely love. And there's some tips here, for example, for statting normal animals, which is great. How to work through damage, movement, any modifications, depending on the creatures for combat context and stuff like that, which is cool. Other considerations, multiple attacks, differing sizes, whether their attacks ignore armor, dealing with poison and disease, or creating new special abilities. So yeah, lots of cool tips for creating new stuff, which will be great for me. And then, of course, coming up with useful GM intrusions. That's a big part of the system with the Cypher system, so definitely useful to think more about what you'll do when it's time for GM intrusion. Now we have some info on the ecology of the shoals of Earth. So these are the fleshed out recursions that are near to Earth itself, I suppose. We have some other humanoid races. So dwarves, elves, halflings, kobolds, Neanderthals, starseeds. Then we have some info about the rules for using creatures in a group, which is the swarm rules, always handy. And then we get into the creatures of the Strange themselves. You can see there's a whole load of them here, organized by level, as per usual. The listings take the same format as in every other Cypher System game, so nothing new there. We can see that there's quite a few, level 3, level 4, level 5, and level 6. Then we start getting down in numbers. We get to 7, 8, 9, and 10, which, as always, makes a good amount of sense. Those are the creatures that you'll rarely encounter that'll be sort of campaign enders. Then we got some lovely encounter tables that are categorized here by the sort of applicable physics of the recursion you're dealing with. So if you're in a mad science world and you want a random encounter, you would use this table. This one for magic, another one for psionics, one for being in the Strange itself, and then some standard physics, agents, operatives, criminals, that sort of stuff. And then we get into the listings. So I'm not going to cover everything as usual. We'll just got to look at the beautiful art. If I see something particularly oddball that I'm interested in, then we'll read about it. Like this all-seeing eye, which looks cool. So, loosed from the nightmares of insane asylum inmates, all-seeing eyes wander recursions that contain psychic residue, hunting for those whose minds they can empty with their soul-sucking gazes. It watches, studies, and catalogs. As frightening as it might be to see a flying, disembodied eye the size of a human head looking in through your window, it's worse when the eye goes from watching to actively gazing. That's when the eye emits a beam of intense violet plasma, or worse, it catches someone in its unblinking stare and doesn't look away until the victim's mind is utterly empty. So its motive is hungering for minds. Wow, okay. Can be either alone or in groups of 3. Got 18 health, inflicts 4 points of damage, has 2 armor, can fly long distances, and it has perception is level 7 despite being a level 4 beastie. And speed defense is level 5 due to being relatively small, as we can see in the comparison chart. And it's got a lot of combat abilities here, so it can fire a purplish beam to attack target within long range. If you can see any part of its target, it ignores any difficulty step modifications for cover, though that same psychic field was responsible for creating an all-seeing eye's armor. Interesting. However, the most dangerous of the eye's attacks is the mind-draining gaze. As an action, an all-seeing eye can direct its gaze at a target to within long range, who is looking at the eye. The target must make an intellect defense roll to avoid being held fast in the gaze. The target held in the gaze stands completely motionless and automatically takes 4 points of intellect damage each round, including the round in which he was caught. Releasing a target from the gaze is as easy as breaking line of sight. The victim can do that himself if he succeeds on a difficulty 6 intellect defense roll. So they're telepathic but don't usually interact with other creatures except to hunt them. On the other hand, sometimes they manifest in the dreams of characters in locations where one or more eyes hunt. In such dreams, eyes sometimes speak of building an empire and eradicating all other life. Wow, okay. Doesn't sound great. So then we got aviatars. Level 5 creatures. Some sort of flying warriors. We have barrage crusaders. They are the face of the fall, so they tend to appear in mad science and magic worlds. We have the battle chrysalid, so they can appear anywhere. Okay. We have the apoptosis class battle chrysalid. At level 8, yowza. So they can attack foes they can see up to about 1,000 feet, 305 meters away, with beams of cell-destroying radiation, afflicting damage on a living target and anything in immediate range of the target. Those caught in the beam who succeed on a speed defense roll suffer 2 points of damage instead of 8 points. Against non-living targets, the beam inflicts only 4 points. In melee, they attack 3 times as a single action with arm spines and extruded tail segments. They can also release a pulse of cell-destroying radiation that deals damage to all creatures within immediate range, but they can't use this attack 2 rounds in a row. They regenerate 2 points of health per round while its health is above 0. Wow, okay. Then we got the blob. That's cool, just a big amorphous blob. Level 8, so I guess it'll be pretty big and slow. You can see by the size comparison. And probably pretty difficult to destroy. Formless things are usually harder to destroy than those with a physical form. We got the bogeyman, which is actually not that strong. Usually found under beds, in closets, outside windows, or in toy boxes. Sounds about right. They have no power in the light. In normal form, a bogeyman is nothing more than a pair of disembodied eyes that float inside a shapeless smear of shadow. So they reach out to feed on courage. So if you succeed on an intellect defense roll, or you will take 2 points of intellect damage as its courage drains away and blood seeps from its eyes, nose, and ears. In addition, the difficulty to resist the bogeyman's attack increases by 1 step. So that is up to a maximum of 5 steps. Wow, okay. So as they attack you and drain successfully, you get less resistance to their draining. Oh, the butcher. He looks disgusting. So he can appear anywhere, usually in groups of 2, but I guess he prefers Hell Frozen Over and Magic Worlds. We have Callum in a magic environment. We have Capricious Caterpillars, smoking a hookah there. That's pretty cool. So he prefers Wonderland and Magic Worlds. So they have an interesting D6 chart here, so we'll look at that. They know spells and often wield items, most notably magic hookahs, that help channel their powers, granting them offensive and defensive abilities. Instead of attacking with mundane weapons, they use spells of fire, smoke, and coughing curses. For example, a Capricious Caterpillar may do one of the following as its action during combat, but never the same effect twice in 2 rounds. So if you roll a 1, attack all creatures within immediate range with a cloud of smoke. On a failed might defense roll, victims suffer damage and a fit of coughing that renders them unable to take actions in the following round. On a 2, create a magic smoke circle that targets one creature in short range. If the victim fails a speed defense roll, it is teleported to a random location within long range. That's annoying. 3, blow smoke into the eyes of a target within immediate range. If the victim fails an intellect defense roll, she sees her ally as the Capricious Caterpillar for 1 minute, or until she spends a round rubbing the smoke out of her eyes. On a 4, blow a smoke ring around itself and teleport to a nearby treetop within long range. On a 5, reveal a secret that one character is keeping for one or more of her allies. If no secret fits here, treat this as a psychic attack against a character within short range that deals intellect damage if the victim fails an intellect defense roll. And on a 6, breathe in a long draft of smoke that completely heals the Capricious Caterpillar of damage. Oh. So they're usually standoffish, and when one does decide to communicate, it speaks in short, rather rude sentences, followed quickly by difficult questions. It also has a 7th sense when it comes to knowing secrets a character might be harboring. Okay, then we have Catastrophe Cloud, a murmuration of thousands of tiny machines sharing one mind and one purpose. So I guess it's sort of a gray goo kind of thing. Yeah, they are countless tiny machines. They can flow over creatures, blah, blah, blah. We have the Chala Host, which can appear in mad science worlds. Okay, we have the Chaos Templar, which is native to the Strange. That's new. They're a breed apart, literally. Each is a survivor of a separate prime world destroyed by planetivores. Templars spend much of their time searching the Strange for other survivors, exterminating entities that might one day become planetivores, and attempting to find ways to destroy active planetivores. That includes hunting for the perhaps mythical artifact called the Chaos Sword, a device of normal matter so powerful that it can supposedly cleave through matter, recursions, and the Strange itself in vast, solar system-sized slices. Wow. Forged by their founder, Uentaru, into a cohesive group with distinctive golden armor, Chaos Templars are a powerful alien force operating in the Strange. Each Templar possesses a unique quality, ability, or device that allowed her to survive on her own in the Strange before joining the group. So their motive is defend against planetivores. They can be anywhere in the Strange. They have 21 health. They are level 6 and inflict 6 points of damage, 2 points of armor. Their movement is short. Their speed defense, however, is 7 due to their golden armor. Their knowledge of the Strange and navigation of the Strange is also level 7. So their swiftness and strength is magnified by the golden armor, which allows 2 unarmed melee attacks as a single action. However, each also has an artifact that gives her 1 or 2 useful abilities in combat. One is a long-range energy attack against a foe, and if the Templar desires, every creature in immediate range of that foe. The energy varies depending on the Templar, but is usually X-ray, gamma ray, or collimated microwave energy. During any round in which a Chaos Templar spends an action attending to her wounds, she recovers 6 points of health thanks to the golden armor. In addition, a Chaos Templar who spends an action reconfiguring her armor can make it impervious to heat, cold, or other extreme environments, only one type at a time, for up to an hour. Doing so reduces the armor value to 1 during that time. Most Templars also have 2 or 3 ciphers that can be used in combat. Wow. So they're quite difficult to fight against. A chance encounter could introduce a useful and unexpected ally for characters who are experiencing a series of misfortunes and require a helping hand. So if you get on their good side, definitely a good ally to have in the Strange, particularly if you're looking for planetivores. They have the Chimera. Well, that's a classic legendary creature, level 6. They tend to appear in mad science or magic worlds. We have the Cogmite. They infest the machine god bowels like vermin. So they live in the graveyard of the machine god or in mad science or psionic worlds. We have the Collective. These sodden, leather-wrapped humanoid smells of the sea. Each collective is a mass of psionic grubs worming through a slush of salty ooze. Well, that is really disgusting. They live in magic or psionic worlds, and definitely one to avoid. We have the Crazers, are nothing less than the end of all things given the form. They are designed to run down and destroy targets as quickly and efficiently as possible. Crazer stands for Canid, Robotic, Zealous Reapers. They live in the graveyard of the machine god and mad science. They constantly operate in berserker mode. Okay, another one to avoid. Crucible, both synthetic and organic. In mad science or psionics, we have the Cyber Sorcerer, level 7, so not one to be messed with lightly. 28 health, 8 points of damage. They draw upon their power to do magic spells. At the cost of 1 point of health, they can use their action to fire a blast of magic energy to long range, create a burst of magic energy within long range that inflicts 5 points of damage to all in an immediate area, create a wall of magic energy that is an immobile plane of solid force up to 20 feet by 20 feet for 1 hour, see or phase through a solid barrier up to 1 foot thick, turn invisible for 10 minutes, teleport up to 1 mile away, or change its appearance to look like any creature of approximately the same size. At the cost of 2 points of health and 10 minutes of time, they can also change one mundane object into another, look up to 1 week into the past or future, heal another creature or repair an object, restoring 7 points to a stat pool or health, does not work on itself, or charge a depowered technological device for 1 hour. So quite flexible. They're also intelligent, paranoid, but not automatically hostile. They have their own self-serving agendas which often involve elaborate schemes. These beings make excellent master villains with a variety of machinations. Cool. Then we have the classic Cyclops. They are quite enormous there, as you can see. We have the Data Sentinel. So they live in Singulariton and mad science recursions. They're free-roaming instances of AI. Yep. We have the Deathless Charger. They are magical creatures living in Ardain or generic magic worlds. We have the Deep One. That's a nice classic Lovecraftian creature. Obviously, they live in Innsmouth, or they can also show up in mad science, psionics, or magic worlds. Everybody knows the Deep Ones. We don't have to spend time on them. The Deinonychus. That's what they call the Velociraptors in Jurassic Park, but they were actually Deinonychus. So they're pretty vicious pack hunters. Not much by themselves, just level 3, but as they hunt in packs of 3 to 7, and they have perception as level 5, attacks and speed defense is level 4. Still not to be trifled with. Then we have a Demon Drake at level 9. Holy moly. Massive and powerful. Thankfully, they are rare. They may only be 2 or 3 in all the recursions they call home. They live in Hell Frozen Over or in magic worlds. They stand 15 feet high when they rise up on their rear legs, and their wingspan is almost 40 feet or 12 meters. Their bodies are covered in scales that seem almost metallic. They have 50 health. 13 points of damage inflicted, wow. Armor is 4 or 10. So they are terrors that can attack up to 3 creatures within immediate range as a single action. They can breathe a stream of fire or intense cold that inflicts 15 points of damage on a single target within long range. They have 10 armor against heat and cold. They are extremely intelligent and are usually overconfident at the beginning of a battle. They can use brilliant strategy and cunning tricks and maneuvers if they need to. But they love making bargains, wagers, and deals, probably because they're relatively bored with their existence. Okay. Then we have the Devolved. It's pretty Disgusting. Not every bioengineering attempt in Rook succeeds. Okay, so those are bioengineering mistakes, basically. We have genies, classic mythical creature, usable in the Strange or in Magic Worlds. We have the Dalama Rider. So this is from, again, I believe, Sumerian myth. So they tend to appear in Ardain or in the Strange, apparently. Level 6, not too bad. We have the Droneem, only a level 2. They appear in Mad Science Worlds. These Droneems carry out manual and unskilled labor that beautifies and maintains the places where the powerful live. They will defend themselves if they're attacked, but they're basically just slave drones, essentially. We have the Dinoid. They abandoned their physical bodies long ago, so they are beings of pure consciousness that appear in the Strange or in Psionic worlds. Cool. Then we have the Elder Thing, level 8, classic Lovecraftian creature. Quite reasonably big in size and very tentacular, as Lovecraftian creatures tend to be. They have health 30, inflict 6 points of damage. They can move immediate range or long when flying. All tasks related to knowledge of magic or science is level 10. Wow. Speed defense is level 6 due to form. They can attack with 5 tentacles divided any way it chooses among up to 3 targets within immediate range. A target hit by a tentacle must succeed on a speed defense roll or become grabbed. Each round, the Elder Thing automatically inflicts 6 points of damage on each grab target until the victim succeeds on a might-based task to escape. In addition, they can reach into the mind of a target within short distance. If the target fails an intellect defense roll, the Elder Thing reads its thoughts while it remains within long distance. During this time, the Elder Thing knows everything the target knows. As a result, the difficulty of the target's attack and defense rolls are increased by 1 step. Furthermore, the Elder Thing can use an action to rend the target's thoughts, which inflicts 6 points of intellect damage on a failed intellect defense roll. An Elder Thing can passively read the thoughts of up to 2 creatures at one time. They might also carry a few ciphers and an artifact for use in combat. Very tough. So then we have elementals coming in the various obvious categories: fire elementals, earth elementals, thorn elementals, that's a new one. And then we have Numenera. So they're spirit creatures in recursion seeded by Japanese legends. Okay. Their motive is defense, friendship, or punishment. They are level 3. They take 12 points of damage and inflict 4 points. They have short movement, but all tasks related to stealth is level 7. Knowledge of Asian myths is level 5. In smoke form, they're difficult to damage with physical weapons. Only magic or energy attacks, such as one made by an enchanted sword, a fire spell, or a laser, can harm it. In smoke form, it can attempt to smother a foe by leaping into its lungs. Any target who fails a might defense roll begins to smother, automatically taking 4 points of damage, ignoring armor, every round, starting the round after the attack was launched. If the target succeeds on a might defense roll as his action, he clears the Numenera from his lungs and deals the creature 6 points of damage in the process. An Numenera can also exist within any normal fire that is at least the size of a torch, and only observant creatures are likely to note anything out of the ordinary with the inhabited flame. You can shift between smoke and human forms as part of another action, including making a physical attack as a human. As a human, it's fully vulnerable to all attacks, and some choose to wear armor for this reason. Some can take the physical forms of mundane objects no bigger than twice the size of a normal human. Such objects are considered level 4 for purposes of toughness, complexity, durability, and so on. They have different personalities. Some are helpful and kind, while others are vindictive and cruel. Then we have an Exterion. So they're native to the Strange or in standard physics world, so basically anywhere Chaos Templars roam. So they're native to the universe of normal matter, but from a world far distant from Earth in time and space. At level 8, not one to be messed with. We have fairies. Of course, they tend to be found in magic worlds. Relatively weak, but I presume they can do lots of weird stuff with fairy dust, and that seems to be the case here. Fallen stars. During the Age of Myth, angelic Nephilim of extreme power were elevated to the status of shining stars to watch over Ardain. Most of those stars continued guarding the land of the curse to this day. Sometimes those stars fall back to solid ground, but when they do, it's usually because they've gone mad. Okay, that sounds bad. They have perception is level 7. Knowledge of Ancient Ardain is level 7. They can attack creatures by projecting a long-range beam of burning light. Against foes within immediate range, it manifests burning wings of starlight. And a fallen star can choose to make its attacks ignore armor, but for each attack so modified, it loses 4 points of health. On the rare occasion that fallen star is within immediate range of another fallen star, both regenerate 1 point of health per round. By day, they cannot project long-range attacks and have no visible wings. So the power is only usable during the night sky. We've got flatheads. Well, they really do have flatheads and a brain in a jar. So they appear in the land of Oz. We have the fractal worm that lives in the Strange. Anywhere in the Strange near a recursion interface, never on Earth. They can stretch for a few thousand feet, 600 meters or more, and insert their feeding tips into recursions that have an interface to the Chaos Sphere. Wow, sometimes they do this merely to see what's inside a new recursion, but other times they do so to feed. They have 90 health, inflict 10 points of damage, have armor of 7 or 12. Wow. Speed defense only is 3 due to size. Surface knowledge, literally, of any recursion in the shoals of Earth has level 5. They attack by unfurling quickly enough to smash a target within 300 feet of its tip, which deals damage to the target and all creatures within short range of the target. Between that, a fractal worm can extend just a portion of its incredible length through an interface between the strange and a recursion. Creatures never see the worm's entire length unless they're pulled out of the recursion and into the strange, or if they encounter the worm in the Chaos Sphere to begin with. They gain an additional +5 to armor against all attacks involving cold and heat. They are very intelligent and telepathic, but they don't seem to share a language or a mindset with natives of the shoals of Earth. When a worm inserts itself into a recursion near a population center, mass panic ensues among those who witness its feeding. Yeah, I would imagine so. We have frenetic hobs, composites of magic fungi, and fish-like animals. Gross. The fungalar, hunting among the thick fibrous fungi of the grey forests of Rook. They prey upon creatures and rummage through the forest for food. We have the Fusion Hound. In the radiation-scoured wastelands of Cataclysm, either creatures adapt to the deadly energies of their environment or they die. Fusion Hounds are mutant canines that absorb unbelievable amounts of radiation and thrive on it. They roam in packs, killing and devouring everything they come upon. Their entire head is a blast of flame, and gouts of dangerous radiation flare from its body. Then we have a Gamma Spiker, unpleasantly large. They live in Cataclysm as well, or in mad science or magic places. Seems to be that they turned up fairly recently. Just a few years ago, no one had ever seen a Gamma Spiker. That's interesting. Probably an interesting storyline to be unfolded there. We have ghosts, typically in magic or psionic worlds. At level 4, but I imagine they're difficult to hit. Yeah, they don't take damage from mundane physical sources. You need spells and attack with direct energy. Their touch inflicts freezing damage, and they lose intellect damage and becomes terrified, frozen in place. They try to push away each round by attempting an intellect-based task. Those killed by fear are marked by expressions of horror and hair that is turned white. They can move through solid objects at will, though it can choose to pick up and manipulate objects if it focuses on them. And their stealth is as level 7. Tasks related to frightening others as level 6. Yikes. Then we have glitches. So they roam the strange, near-human outposts in the Chaos Sphere, including along recursion boundaries. A living entity that looks somewhat humanoid. They might wear portions of their dead opponents as clothing, jewelry, or in a pinch, an easy-to-access snack. Yikes. We have Nox, possessing spirit, living in Ardain. We have the Gordigan, a classic mythological creature, here armed with a bow as well as its characteristic head full of snakes. If you meet its gaze and fail a might defense roll, you turn to stone. And we have the Greys, level 4. All tasks related to knowledge is level 6. Speed defense is level 5 due to size and quickness. They have a powerful ray emitter that can burn holes through solid steel. They can use an action to activate a personal shield that gives it +3 to armor, but then it can't fire its ray beam. They are scientists but cautious ones. Leaving a trail of corpses as evidence of their existence isn't their preferred mode of operation. For this reason, one Grey in every group has a memory eraser. When this Grey activates the device, each target other than a Grey within short range must succeed on an intellect defense roll or become stunned for 1 minute, taking no action. When the effect wears off naturally, the target has no recollection of encountering little Grey creatures. Oh, that's cool. Then we have the classic Griffin. I like the mixture of kind of classic sort of cultural archetypes and new stuff. The Grim Tailor, it seems like a fairy tale type thing, appears in the world of Middlecap. We have the Grotesque, which appears in Hell, so some kind of demon or devil. Embodies mortal concepts of what demons and devils are supposed to look like. Yeah, so there you go. We have the Hollow Knight. Oh, that's cool. Just an animated suit of armor, living in haunted castles in magic-based worlds. The Id Thief, known for their spectacular thefts of the most precious thing a living creature possesses, emotion. So they have speed defense is level 7. Disguise is level 6. Resist psychic attacks is level 6. They do enough damage to move the victim a step down the damage track. The victim is stunned and disoriented, unable to attack other than attempting a new intellect defense roll each round to shake off the effect. At the same time the victim descends a step on the damage track, the Id Thief regenerates 4 points of health. Victims badly hurt by an Id Thief may be affected long afterwards. They fall under a malaise for a month, during which the difficulty of all tasks is increased by 1 step. They don't care enough to have the condition looked at, but if tended to by someone with psychic and healing abilities, the character is cured after just a day. Wow. And we have the Ignitherm, a level 7 monstrosity from Mad Science environments. The Imposter. Ooh, that's a nice illustration. I like that. A deep and abiding interest in other recursions impels the AI that rules Singularitan to dispatch servants throughout matter gates to gather intelligence about far-flung realities and the people populating them. The AI, known as Singularitar, does this not for enlightenment, but to make ready the armies of conquest it will one day send out to extend its intellect across the whole of the Chaos Sphere, assimilating all things into his vast and perfect mind. So these are their disposable eyes and ears. They can appear anywhere in any recursion. They blend in and prefer not to enter combat. When their physical form begins to fail through degradation or violence, when reduced to 0 points of health, the imposter explodes, inflicting 10 points of damage to everything in long range. Yikes. Iron Bulls from Ardain. We have something really huge here, my god. A kaiju. Level 10. Okay, you can see the size comparison. So one fingernail basically is massively huger than this poor guy here. Destroying a kaiju is beyond the ability of most recursors. Fighting these things is akin to fighting a tsunami or hurricane. Most people hunker down and hide, wait for the danger to pass, and rebuild in the aftermath. Okay, they have 150 health, inflict 20 points of damage, and have 5 armor. Speed defense is level 3 due to size. When it attacks, it damages the target and everything within short distance. Even targets that succeed on a speed defense roll take 10 points of damage. Oh boy. They regenerate 3 health points per round while their health is above 0. They also have a special attack. That attack might be spewing a blast of radiation, releasing an EMP pulse to fry electronics, or something else. Whatever attack the form takes, it can be used at ranges of more than a mile, affect an area several hundred feet across, and or deal an additional 10 points of damage. A kaiju regards humans as little more than insects. It's not likely to notice them unless they do something to get its attention. Wow. We got your standard killer robots, good for your mad science or standard physics world. We have the killing white light, which appears almost anywhere dark. Not a subtle hunter, an eye-watering point of brilliance. Okay, we've got the Crow Goon, appearing in Crow Hollow, naturally. We have the Mad Creation from Mad Science. Sometimes the fruit of a mad scientist's laboratory is sublime, other times horrifying. There we go. We've got Mad Titans scattered throughout the shoals of Earth. See, they are quite titanic in size. Level 7, so tough to fight. The material of his body means it can walk through nearly any obstacle, smashing through walls of solid rock, buildings, and trees. Pays no attention to what it steps on. Anything in its path is likely flattened. A character who is stepped on must make a speed defense roll to dodge or be knocked down and take 9 points of damage. They spend years immobilized and insensate, their minds lost in half-remembered experiences and hallucinations. Rousing a Titan has unpredictable results. Some might rampage, others laugh, cry, or scream streams of nonsense. Alright. We have the Maggot Fiend. God, that really reminds me of Leto after his worm transformation. They're only level 2, though, and they appear in Hell Frozen Over or Magic-based worlds, I guess. Here we have a nice 2-page spread of the size comparison chart. We've got mecha drones, battle mechs. So they appear in Cataclysm, Magic or Mad Science worlds, once the pinnacle of killing machines produced by rogue AI. They have particle guns, rockets, micromissiles, and slug throwers. Interaction, mecha drones exist to kill humans, not talk to them. Okay, simple enough. We have the Mechanomancer. They use their incredible mastery over mad science cyber technology to transcend flesh and become one with a digitally created avatar able to physically interact with the real world. A little bit like a Technomancer in Shadowrun, I guess. So they can reprogram creatures within short range. They can create energized exosuits. They can scan online records in the area around it to learn one secret or valuable bit of technology concerning the target. They can create a sphere of force around one target. If destroyed, they can create a new avatar within a few days unless a real living body is found and destroyed. Oh, interesting. We have Metallicons living in the Strange or in Mad Science worlds. We have the Mirror Gaunt, which has a gross mouth in its chest, living in any mirror. Doesn't sound great. They can pull you into the mirror. Break a mirror that holds a creature also releases it, but mirrors in which Gaunts live have been affected by the creature's magic. The mirrors have armor 2 and don't shatter unless they take 15 points of damage from a solid object. Breaking a mirror destroys the Mirror Gaunt lurking inside it and inflicts 9 points of damage to any other creature trapped inside. That reminds me of there's enemies in Castlevania that do that. They snatch you out of the mirror. Then we have the Mokuren. They live in the Atom Nocturne or in psionic-based worlds. And we have the Monument Spider. Gross. Their legs can stretch 500 feet from tip to tip. Oh my god. Its central body remains light enough they can climb and spin webs between orbital elevators, skyscraping arcologies, or if in a post-apocalyptic recursion, long ruined wizard towers or titanic marble sculptures. They trap prey in webs, except the kind of prey they prefer runs the gamut from jet aircraft to dragons. My god. Okay, in a mad science recursion, a monument spider might be robotic or alien, or might look like a normal spider grown several orders of magnitude too large, thanks to a radiation leak. In a magic recursion, a monument spider might be the mount of a god gone rogue, a war golem, or a creature of myth, in which case it has a mind and an agenda. Okay. We have the Murder. So it's a murder of crows, native to Crow Hollow, as one would expect. We have the Mysterion, masked figure in Magic or Mad Science world, always hunting alone. They have quite a few combat abilities. Electrical jolts, cloud of mist that cause hallucinations, sticky nets, flash of smoke, they can move without being seen, an injection that gives them great strength for 1 hour, and a burst of energy that puts all creatures in immediate radius into a hypnotic state. Mitocytic Pool, appearing in Rook. We have the Nakarand Avatar, appearing in the Strange, can appear in any recursion, and sometimes seen haunting the dreams of spiral dust users. This sticky, brownish organism, vast and coiled, is several hundred feet, 60 meters across, though it's far larger on the inside. In some ways, it's like a living recursion able to manifest its mind and abilities into a powerful mobile avatar. Wow. So that could probably be quite a pain to deal with. The Nalusafalaya, spindly black humanoid, living in the Thunder Plains, so it must be a Norse-based religion. We have the Nekuratu, Wildly dangerous predators of gloaming who care nothing for the code, the conclave, or the politics that divide law from chaos in the recursion. We have Neuroraptors. Okay, the few relative handful were commissioned and grown by ancient factions to fight against creatures of the Kynod singularity that threaten the sanctity of Rook. Okay, so they are unpredictable. That's never good. And they make physical melee attacks for 9 points of damage. Or they can make a neuron killing pulse, which targets up to 5 different creatures within long range. Fail an intellect defense roll to take 4 points of damage that ignores armor. Then we have the Negeshtin. They inhabit glaciers, frozen lakes, and winter storms in Ardain. We have the Night Gaunt, another Lovecraftian classic with a H.P. Lovecraft quote here. Shocking and uncouth black things with smooth, oily surfaces, unpleasant horns that curved inward toward each other, bat wings whose beating made no sound, ugly prehensile paws, and barbed tails that lashed needlessly and disquietingly. And worst of all, they never spoke because they had no faces at all, but only a suggestive blankness where a face ought to be. All they ever did was clutch and fly and tickle. That was the way of Night Gaunts. That sets the mood nicely. There's a lot of spiders in here. A night spider. 5 foot or 2 meter diameter adults. Yeah, I'm not a spider fan, so we'll skip that one. Night worm. Dangerous things that stalk the lightless roads of sorrow in the night vault. So that's where the dead live in Ardain, and they are quite huge. You can see there. We have the null. Distorted, mangled reflections of creatures around the shoals of Earth. And they appear anywhere in the strange, and sometimes in recursions with a strong connection to the strange, but they are quite weak. Just level 1. But they tend to swarm over a foe and bite, pinch, and squeeze in groups of 12 or more. Got the Nupepo. Animated lumps of human flesh that walk on vaguely defined limbs. Gross. They might be spirits formed from the fictional leakage of several Eastern myths. On the other hand, they could be an unintended consequence of a mad science reincarnation attempt, one that's able to catalyze this animation in similarly dead tissue to form more Nupepos. They sometimes follow a living individual around like a silent, smelly pet that shows no affection. No one knows why. Interesting detail there. We got the Octopus Sapien. Oh, cool. It's got some kind of weapon, I guess. Long-lived octopuses that are able to think appear in all kinds of recursions. They share a xenophobic hatred for humans. They want to defend themselves and eliminate humanity. They appear in mad science, psionics, or standard physics worlds. Cool. I like the drawing a lot. Then you have ogres, a classic bestial brute, a sadistic 8-foot cannibalistic fiend that preys upon other creatures in the woods, mountains, or other wilderness areas, living in magic environments. And we have the orc, which is similar, slightly weaker than the ogre. Phantasmic parasite. Okay, so they live in psionic or magic world. They attach themselves to a sentient creature's mind, find someone or something to which the creature has an emotional attachment, and broadcasts an image of it at some distance away from the victim. The parasite feeds on the emotional stress created by the phantasm. The more upset and worried the victim becomes, the more the parasite consumes. Thus, most phantasms appear in some state of distress, weeping, whining, and panicked. And when their viewers approach the phantasm, it shrinks away, always pulling back to just out of reach. Oh, that's cruel. And we have the mythical phoenix. It's lovely. Appearing in Ardain and in other magic recursions. We have the Polymus, appearing in Rook and other mad science worlds. And we have posthumans. Okay, level 9. So these are humans that have gone to the next stage of evolution. Only one posthuman has been encountered so far, but by all accounts, more exist and could potentially be encountered anywhere, including in deep space in the universe of normal matter. With 99 health, inflict 9 points of damage. They're level 9 as well. They attack foes up to half a mile away with bolts of directed plasma. They're just as scary in hand-to-hand combat and can attack all targets within immediate range as an action. They can also call on a variety of other abilities that might as well be magic to regular foes, but are actually small manipulations of the quantum field. Essentially, they can mimic the ability of a Cypher of level 5 or less. Wow. Posthuman doesn't need to alter reality to heal itself, as it automatically regenerates 2 points of health per round while its health is above 0. Okay, so when humans evolve, they really evolve. Impressive. Then we have the Prance, insidious mutant flowers. Gross. They appear in Cataclysm and in mad science and magic worlds, growing in patches of 6 or more in irradiated areas. Okay. We've got psychic remnants appearing in psionic worlds. So they're what happens when a powerful telepath dies, a sort of mental imprint on the worlds. We have pterodactyls in standard physics, substandard physics, or mad science worlds. We have the questing beast, an unseemly mixture of serpent, leopard, goat, and lion. It's pretty unseemly. Level 8 though, so quite strong. They live spreading destruction and corruption. 24 health, 8 damage, short movement. They make an unwholesome noise that makes it almost impossible for the monster to get the drop on his prey. They pursue its victims with single-minded intensity, bounding through the underbrush and flailing about like a thrashing monstrosity born from nightmares. A living creature exposed to its venom must make a successful might defense roll or take 6 additional points of speed damage that ignores most armor from the poison. Okay. We have rocks, so they are level 7 creatures from Oz, or in magic worlds, anywhere far from civilization. Then we have the reanimated zombies of some type, but they are patched together from corpses. So I guess these are more like Frankenstein's monster type things. Oh yeah, and there's a Frankenstein quote. I beheld the wretch, the miserable monster whom I had created. He held up the curtain of the bed, and his eyes, if eyes they may be called, were fixed on me. Ooh. Then we have the Recursion Hound. They live in the strange or anywhere in any recursion, often in the company of a companion. They track prey into any limited world, no matter how extreme the terrain. Then we have Recursion Stain. Forms when a creature travels via an opposite gate to a recursion where the laws of its native recursion are not supported. As reality imposes its will on the creature, stripping it of powers and abilities going beyond what its new location allows, the creature weakens and could die. Not every creature that undergoes this complete disintegration leaves a stain, but those with great power might. Once a stain forms, it acts as a cancer on existence, destabilizing local reality. A recursion stain looks like a swirling fractal pattern that causes light to bend around it. It floats in the air and moves in an erratic manner. Okay, then we have Regoids in Mad Science Worlds. So they build robots designed to run things for humanity, which worked out about as well as might be imagined. We have Sapient Trees, level 3. So it looks like a very evil version of an Ent, I suppose. We have the Scormel, a horrible human-scorpion hybrid kind of thing. Vicious xenophobic cannibals whose terror is awesome, and whose poisonous sting is difficult to survive. We have Scrap Drones in Mad Science or Standard Physics Worlds. We have Serpent People, another Lovecraftian classic. So there's a quote here from Clark Ashton Smith. They walked lithely and sinuously erect on pre-mammalian members, their pied and hairless bodies bending with great suppleness. There was a loud hissing of formulae as they went to and fro. So they belong to the ancient past. They tend to be pretty worthy adversaries in things like Call of Cthulhu, so I'd watch out for them. We've got Shadowcasters, spirits of the ancient dead drenched with aeons of immersion in the umbral sea. So they can appear in the gloaming or in magic-based worlds. We have the Sinister, winding its way through the air in the strange recursion of Crow Hollow. We have Skeletons, pretty typical undead, useful in magic-based worlds. We have the Smotherer Demon. Well, that's pretty gross. You notice the stink first, a putrefying whiff of rot, and the sea on a rush of unseasonably cold air. Then the Smotherer appears, a horrific humanoid figure that seems half human and half hagfish eel, crusted with ice spines, breath steaming with killing cold. That's when you should run. Sounds good to me. Then we have the Soul Eater. That also sounds bad. The animate head of a powerful wizard or psychic who shuffled off this mortal coil, only to become an undead creature without ethics, feelings, or sense of morality. Also called Dread Skulls for obvious reasons. They maintain their existence by occasionally absorbing the spirit or mind of living victims. An absorbed soul is burned away, which is why dread skulls are wreathed in flame. It's the byproduct of the creature's previous psychic meal. Reminds me of Doom 3, that image. We got the Spine Tingler. Looks really disgusting. So they're in Mad Science World, some kind of alien being. We have the Spliced. So when the science of bioengineering is pushed beyond all reason, the Spliced are one result. Dangerous, unpredictable killers. Creatures are apex predators with no equal and can quickly deplete a population to feed their remarkable appetites. Got the Tagwe, an evil spirit that can take many shapes, living in the Thunder Plains. And we have the Tyrannid. Appears as a normal human with exceptionally long silver hair, until it attacks and its massive hair animates as if alive, framing the creature in a 25-foot, 8-meter radius of waving tendrils. Okay, that sounds pretty freaky. Then we have the classic T-Rex, level 7, so pretty tough. They hunt solo or in pairs. They're drawn to large, unfamiliar noises, like motor engines. They have 50 health and inflict 10 points of damage. And they attack with a massive bite, of course, or a trampling attack, or a roar, which can cause you to stand frozen in fear on a difficulty 2 intellect defense roll if you fail. Attacks against such creatures are modified by 2 steps in the attacker's favor and deal 2 additional points of damage. All right. Then we have the classic Vampire. And there are a few different types. We've got a transitional vampire, so a neonate, I guess, in the language of Vampire the Masquerade. We've got a vampire lord, one of the most powerful vampires in the world, and is often, but not always, the most ancient of its kind. Level 9. Yikes. Climb, stealth, and perception is level 10. Speed defense is level 10 due to fast movement. Oh boy. We've got vat rejects. So when you have a problem in a clone vat, this is what you get, apparently. The Venipus. Usually encountered while wearing a partially digested form of its last victim. Ooh, not very nice. Then we have a Viridial. Woe to the wilderness traveler unaware of the Viridial, for such ignorance could lead to doom. Wow, they are gigantic. They are intelligent, animate plant creatures that look a little like large trees, with several massive root-like legs and 2 nasty claw branches. Okay, they draw their nourishment from soil and the sun. Although fairly intelligent, they have no interest in the affairs of other intelligent creatures, or motives like wealth or power. They want only solitude and peace. So if you see them, leave well enough alone, is the message I get there. Then we have the Vertebroid. That's a gross-looking thing. Appears in Rook or in Mad Science. Spends most of its time burrowing beneath the surface of Rook. Hopefully not one you encounter too often. Then we have Virioids. In the dark world of Singularitarian, the AI that decided to wipe out humanity did so in a variety of ways. One of the most effective was the bioengineered viruses it unleashed. Yeah, don't we know it? Each viroid is a floating sphere about 8 inches across with multiple needle-like injectors for precision extermination. Okay, so these are actual visible-sized virus delivery systems. Okay. We got Voots. Radioactive craters, dimpling cataclysm landscape produce an endless variety of bizarre and monstrous creatures. In some places, even the plant life has undergone radical change. The Voot, for example, looks like an enormous shrub with cobalt blue leaves on long branches that drag on the ground, weighted by the pulsing white fruit clinging to their stems. Then we got the Warbot from the Graveyard of the Machine God, or Mad Science. They can have a variety of different capabilities and regenerate 1 point of health each round. They look very cool as well. The classic Wendigo, another creature of myth, hangs out with the gods of the Thunder Plane. They love eating human flesh. We have the Werewolf, another mythological classic. Attacks is level 6, even though it's level 4 when half lupine. Speed defense is level 6 when full lupine. Perception is level 7 when half and full lupine. So they have 3 forms, I guess. Half lupine, full lupine, and half and full lupine. Okay, so they gain some abilities that apply to different states. We have the White Ape, so I guess that's a Yeti. Then we have Witches. He's got a really disturbing face, actually. Wrath Lords, spirits who do not become bodiless spirits of rage and loss called Wraths, are rare. These few Wrath Lords hold on to the sense of who and what they were before dying, and may adopt a specific goal, task, or duty to occupy themselves. They tend to appear in Ardain as guardians. Then we have the classic zombies. So you got your basic zombie at level 3. We got a zombie Reacher at level 4, so we can control his limbs even if they are scattered or detached. They can have a long-range grab with telekinetically animate hands. We got zombie Night Stormers. They manipulate the energy animating it that it can extend the field beyond itself to perform incredible feats of offense, defense, and mobility, including the ability to fly. They're intelligent and devious and given to pranks of the sort that kill. Sometimes the vicious laughter of a Night Stormer that has just caught a victim echoes through the night for miles. Wow. Then we have the Crowned Shambler. They're mostly legend, rarely seen. They have the unholy power to command the allegiance of lesser zombies and other creatures touched by death. They can attack a foe with bone-tipped viscera, and they regenerate 2 points of health per round. They can see in the dark at any range, and with a touch they can take control of lesser zombies and other deathless creatures within short range that are lower level than itself. Wow. And then we have some characters, so these are mainly going to be for Earth, I guess. Elite operatives, elite soldiers. Oh, necromancers. They can appear in magic environments. Neon rollers. Oh, those are cool. They appear in Atom Nocturne. So they're one of the most notorious gangs in the city, even though they're wearing pink rollerblades. I like that. Pink mohawks as well. We've got noble knights appearing in magic environments. And then we have some people of renown. So the Archcoder, a myth of the Dark Energy Network. As some tell it, she's an alien so old and so familiar with the underlying structure and function of the Chaos Sphere that she must be one of the precursors. One who survived the billions of years since the network they built for intergalactic travel was shattered and rendered into the strange. So of course level 10, can call upon root access to the network and accomplish tasks like a literal god. Okay, can create any cipher, bend structural elements of recursion, batter all foes with long range with a blast of her choice, inflicting 10 points of damage. She can create structures or landscape features or grow fundament out of nothing. Jeez, okay, yeah. Don't mess with them. Then we have Colin Stokes, Warrior Mage at level 6, lives throughout the shoals of Earth. We have Dr. Ceratops. Well, that's funny. The head of a Triceratops and a little pipe there. One of the handful of so-called lost world recursions where dinosaurs and other extinct megafauna yet roam. Intelligent dinosaurs rose. So he's one of those. Cool. We have the classic Merlin, a level 8 sorcerer. His magic staff, and he knows several spells. And then the GM should roll 6 times on the cipher list in the core book. And the result is the spells that Merlin currently has readied. We have Nimrod the Hunter, usually encountered alone in some recursions frontier. So he likes hunting for things. We have the Oracle. She appears in the Strange, usually in Telenbar in the Green Wilds of Ardain, but potentially anywhere. Okay. Has the power of precognition and transformation, and she appears as a 30-foot, 9-meter-long serpent. We got Sasha the Blade, left London during World War II, set out to solve the mystery of her foster family, and then found a storeroom filled with many curious things, and then she found a gate covered by a drop cloth and stepped through and found herself in a much wider world. And there you go. That is the Bestiary for the Strange. Loads of cool creative stuff in there. Of course, we've got nice renderings of classic creatures of myth and even modern mythology like Lovecraftian stuff into handy stats and combat abilities for players of the Cypher System, but also lots of original creations as well. Some of them suited, I think, for recursions that may be in the Worlds Numberless and Strange book in a little bit more detail, which we'll cover, in fact, in the next video. So look forward to that. I hope this was useful for those of you who are looking at getting into the Strange or perhaps the Cypher System in general. Of course, these monsters are cross-compatible with every other Cypher System game. So if you find stuff in there you like, you can use it in any other Cypher System-based system or world you tend to use. So in the meantime, stay well, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. All right, bye-bye.